The hate you get.
If you want guys from a specific tree, I can't think of two better names to call from than that.
You have a guy who's been in the building.
All that smoke we was in school.
So I'm gonna say.
Yeah, all right.
I'm gonna say.
Commanders family, it is officially the off season, but you know, the work never stops here at Command Center. We'll be talking about our new offensive coordinator, David Blough. Then the legend and Super Bowl champion, Brian Mitchell, joins the show to give his insight on what our offense will look like next year. And later, our crew drops their national championship predictions. You'll never guess who Santana Moss picked to win it all. All that and more right now on Command Center. Welcome into Command Center from the Big Bear AI Command Center studio. I'm your host, Brian Colbert Jr. Here with Mr. 8 to the 9, Santana Moss, Fred Smoot, and Logan Paulson. Fellas, it seems like every time I'm with y'all now, we got some breaking news. We got a new offensive coordinator. David Blough has been named our offensive coordinator. Former assistant quarterbacks coach, Logan. How you feeling about this move, man?
You know, honestly, I'm kind of excited because one of the things that Dan Quinn talked about in his time in Atlanta was one of his big regrets was letting young, talented coaches out of the building.
Yeah.
And the guys he's talking about are Matt LaFleur, Mike McDaniels, really talented young coaches. So if this guy, David Blough, was in that same category, man, look at their careers, look what they've done. And if he's willing to foster that and take a gamble on it, so am I. I'm incredibly excited.
Well, the crazy thing is, for other teams, it's unpredictability.
Yeah.
You don't know what he's going to do. For our team, it's a connection that's already there with Jayden Daniels. So it's a lot there. And what I really do love, nobody really knows what this offense is going to consist of.
Yeah.
And I think that's going, for the long run, going to be a strength for us.
Yeah, I'm very excited for him. I think, when you think about just having somebody in the building already, you think about, having a young quarterback and what he went through last year, how that would have been, bringing a whole new staff here. So when you be able to kind of dig in your same, upbringing and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to promote you now because you know this kid, you understand what, what he needs and what he wants, and that's what's great about it. And also just knowing that David has climbed his way to the top. You know what I mean? There's so many guys in those positions don't get a chance to see it.
Stagnant.
And he went through the little, the couple of years of, being that quarterback's coach, and now he's the OC.
And Tan, I'm glad you said that because he has climbed up those ranks. And a lot of people might not know the history behind David Blough. So let's take a look real quick because he is a former NFL quarterback as well. Now, Blough played quarterback for 4 seasons with the Detroit Lions and 1 season with the Arizona Cardinals. During this time, he played under some great NFL minds: Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson, Kevin O'Connell, and Cliff Kingsbury. Now, Blough will be entering his 3rd season here with Washington. He was the assistant quarterbacks coach in 2024 through 2025 and handled increased responsibilities in the quarterback room following quarterback coach Tavita Pritchard's departing to go to Stanford as the head coach. Now, Blough played a major role in preparing 3 different quarterbacks this year, fellas, to start multiple games for Washington, and we are very excited to have him in the building. Let's dive into it a little more. This is Mission Ready, powered by Big Bear AI. Mission Ready AI for a rapidly evolving world. Now, Logan, DQ decides to bring in a guy that's already in-house, man. What do you think goes into decision-making to bring a guy in that's so young?
Well, I think that first and foremost, it's got to speak to his ability.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's Dan's not going to promote somebody who's not incredibly talented.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I look at his background you just mentioned there. Dan Campbell, really smart guy. Talk about a great culture builder in terms of offensive football.
Tough.
Brian Johnson, Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah.
If you want guys from a specific tree, I can't think of two better names to call from than that. Yeah. And then you add in Cliff Kingsbury. So the diversity, the different philosophies, the different tools that are at his disposal in terms of how to solve offensive problems, whether it's protection, run game, pass game, it's all there for him. Now, the question comes, can he distill that information down and make a functioning, high-powered NFL offense?
Well, here's the thing about it. What a lot of people don't understand is people was coming checking for this guy.
That's right.
Like,
Yes,
if we sign this guy and promote this guy, he could easily be coaching at the New York Giants next year. It's their OC. So when you get somebody that's young and gifted, the question always becomes, who's going to give me my first chance? Well, you got a guy like McVay. The Rams gave him his first chance. You got Green Bay did the same thing. So we're the team that giving him his first chance, and I think it's good because it ain't like he got to uproot himself, learn a new quarterback, and install his system. He's basically saying, you know what? Let me install my system and pick up where we left off at.
And Tanner, when you look at him having those ties to Cliff Kingsbury and getting to learn from him these last 2 years, now he's the man, now he's the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
How can he help elevate our offense and take it to some new heights?
I think that's a good question. I think one of the things that stands out the most is, like, we were just talking about like how, despite us having a great season this past year, we were still averaging around 20-some points a game, and that's with 3 different quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So when you look at that in a nutshell, what did we not do well? You know what I mean? And then you kind of like, decipher through it and say, well, we was able to establish more of the run game later on. So do we dive in deep and say, let's put this offense or build this offense behind that run game? So I think it's some great questions. I'm not an OC, but I know guys, and we talked about this before, some of the great OCs, some of the great offenses in this league, they have a stout run game. And I think to me, I'm not the smartest guy in the world when it comes to it, but I played a lot of offense. When you get behind that run and you have the guys on the outside that's capable, man, you build balance. And that's what I think
it changes a lot.
Yeah,
it gives you identity.
Yeah, I think when you look at his background and the coaches that he's coached under, that's a huge part of what they want to be. And again, it's the marrying of the run game with the pass game, all these different elements that make this thing more dynamic, more difficult to defend on first down. And again, I would say, Tan, I don't know if that's true, but if you look at his background, that's a big feature of where he's been and what he's been a part of.
And Tanner, when you look at a guy like Jayden Daniels, right, we know that we want him to be comfortable. And this is a guy that he's familiar with. I mean, you look at this picture right here. You want your offensive coordinator looking at your quarterback like that. You want that kind of love in their eyes. How valuable is this move for Jayden Daniels, having somebody that he's familiar with?
I think it's great. I think you got to understand, man, Jayden's still a young kid. He's still trying to get through a lot in this season. And one of the things I learned, after 4 years as a pro, that's when you kind of hit that, okay, I'm a veteran now. I figured this thing out. And I think being that he's still young, you want somebody that's familiar with his style of play. You want somebody familiar as far as the system, because Jayden, you don't want him to learn too much, so early in his career. So you want something that he's been through before. So
it's not a total reset.
I think that's what's great about it to me, just knowing that we have a guy that, who knows, maybe he pulled from Cliff Kingsbury's book, or maybe he added some things to that, but I'm just glad that he's familiar with Jayden and Jayden's familiar with him.
Fellas, a major move for our team, a major move for our offense, and an even more major move for our year 3 guy, Jayden Daniels.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is mentally. You kind of look at the older guys in the league, like, Stafford, he put up, he's not 23, 22 anymore. So those physical tools are kind of diminishing, but just that mental side, he's knowing what he's doing. And me and Blau kind of talk about it, it's like, what is your jab? And that mental side, that IQ, you want to grow that even more. So that's helped me out a lot being on the sideline.
Always good to hear from number 5. Now let's take a look at Top 5, presented by UA Local 5 Plumbers, protecting the health of the nation's capital since 1890. Fred, what a first 2 seasons for our QB1. Was the Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2024. There he threw for over 3,500 yards, including 25 touchdowns. Also in 2024, Daniels rushed for 891 yards and 6 touchdowns as he led Washington to an NFC championship appearance. Now, this past season, Daniel appeared in just 7 games due to injury. However, the quarterback still was able to throw for over 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns while rushing for 278 yards and 2 touchdowns. Major 2 years for our QB1, but I gotta imagine year 3's even bigger.
Well, year 3 for any player, now you feel like you belong. All right, you done got your rookie year out of it, you got your second year out of it, and now I am part of the NFL process. Now the thing is, because he was injured this year, can he not make up for lost time? Can he just get better this offseason? And that's what it's about. And when you're having a coach like Blau that knows and understands what you like, I can't wait to see that relationship mesh.
Gotta imagine when you get a new offensive coordinator and quarterback, nobody's more excited than that. Now, let's send it over to the film room where Tanner and Logan Paulson are standing by to talk some more about this Commanders offense under our new offensive coordinator, David Blough. This is your best seat in the house, presented by SeatGeek. The most disruptive idea in ticketing, a ticket that works. Expect the expected. SeatGeek. Take it away, fellas.
Thanks, BC. Tanner, this is going to be a breakdown of our new offensive coordinator, David Blau, right? Okay. So we're going to look at some of his influences, right? Ben Johnson, we got Kevin O'Connell coming up next week. Those are big things. And so one thing that sticks out to me, Tanner, is the amount of motion that you'll see in this offense. Watch, we're going to motion down, and we're not just motioning to motion, Tanner. We're motioning to create good angles here in the run game for the offensive line. This is just a simple Wanda away from the tight end. And this is a nice, easy trick, putting the receiver here in this proximity to the tackle to give the tackle a better angle on this reach block and let the back get to the edge here.
Yeah.
I think you've probably done something like that, Tanner.
And I have. Yes. I have. And one of the key things you said is just, some of the things that, where he come from. Some of the things that he saw in his background or in his journey leading him to now being the OC for us.
Yeah, and so I say we're going to see probably more motion. We're going to see more diverse run fronts. This is a great example, right? So look at these linebackers, and see how they're plussed over to the tight end strength here to the left. Watch what we do here. This is really cool because this is 13 personnel. And watch, they're going to jet motion this tight end across the formation. Watch what it does to these linebackers in terms of creating angles on these double teams. Watch how easy the tackle is able to get up because the linebackers are so late to adjust the motion here. So little pre-snap motion. Look at this combination. See how we have leverage on the combination?
Yep.
We can build a wall. We can kick out here. We got great leverage on the crack block with the tight end. And watch this alley we're able to create here, Tana. This is big time stuff, but we've done it with motion and personnel to create these hat positions for our blocks, and we get the back downhill not touched until he's almost 25 yards down the field.
Just finding new ways to get guys to kind of, have a leverage and putting man on man when it comes to blocking.
Absolutely, man. And the other way you can use motion, Tana, is in the pass game. I think you remember that from when Kyle's here, right? Motion's a big principle. So we're going to get in this kind of unusual split backfield, and we're going to take the running back, Manungai, and we're going to motion him out here. This right here is Burden. He's a receiver. So we're going to get a matchup, our kind of playmaking wideout in a one-on-one situation versus this linebacker. So this is what the motion allows you to do. It's kind of like a heat check for the defense, man. Where are we at? Who's got who? Now it's so easy for the quarterback to find the fish and make a football play here.
Yeah, I remember I was telling you about this is what some of the things that we did in 05 with Coach Gibbs, just finding ways to get you on linebackers on mismatches.
Yeah, mismatch, and that's one, Tana. I mean, you could win that in your sleep,
All
right?
day.
And so I think about Terry McLaurin. I think about Bill Krosky-Merritt in those types of situations, winning these one-on-ones that are, okay, this concept, Tana, is not new. This is a CO, it's an out, it's a corner. We got crosses here and a dig. Every team in the NFL runs this. We just put a little bit of magic pixie dust on it to hide it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Great, good matchups.
Little razzle-dazzle, that's all.
Little razzle-dazzle, love that. So talk about this one. We're going to change the strength motion. Boom, we're going to motion the backfield. And watch what this does to the defense. They have to check through this constantly. Check rules, check positions. And what we do is we're going to get to a 3-by-1 here, sneaky 3-by-1, and watch this linebacker, Tana, totally lose this fullback to the flat for easy completion. So all we're doing with these motions, Tana, is just making the picture a little bit more complicated. Everybody runs this personnel. 21, 2 tight ends, and a fullback. Everyone does this. We just put a little pixie dust on it, make it hard for the defense to work with good eyes.
Just hiding the guy in plain sight, that's all.
Hiding a guy to play inside. And this is the NFL. It's really hard to get guys this open all the time. Easy opportunity for the quarterback. So what we're seeing here from the Ben Johnson influence for David Blough is motions, emphasis on the run game. Next week with Kevin O'Connell, right? Minnesota Vikings. We're going to talk about how to get the number 1 wide receiver open.
Something
BC,
to look forward to.
Back to you.
Shout out to Logan Paulson and Santana Moss. And speaking of Logan Paulson, Fred, your boy is going to be busy. He has some big dates, and he is hitting some big spots. January 27th, the East-West Shrine Bowl. Then February 23rd to March 2nd, we have the NFL Combine. Then we'll be out in Pittsburgh April 23rd for the NFL Draft for the first round. Then we'll be back in studio for the second and third rounds out here at Big Bear AI Command Center Studio. Somebody that'll be at the draft with us in Pittsburgh is my game day brother, Super Bowl champion, future Hall of Famer, Brian Mitchell. This is your can't miss moment, presented by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official partner of the Washington Commanders. Welcoming in my dog, B Mitch in the building. B, we had some big news over the weekend. David Blau will be our offensive coordinator. I hear from these guys. How you feeling about the new hire?
Well, I'm happy about it. I think when you look at every game, every weekend, they start putting up this little list of people that left out of Washington and became great coaches and head coaches in other places. Well, you look at a guy like David Blau. So I reached out to Deuce Staley, who was on that coaching staff when he was playing in Detroit. And he said he always felt that he could be a coach. He was that type of guy who always helped, who did a lot of stuff behind the scenes to help them out as a coaching staff. Now he gets his opportunity. And I think, a young, innovative guy with a fresh mindset can change up some things for this football team.
B. Mitch, how do you feel knowing that he's already been in the building, he's already had a relationship with Jayden? How do you think that affects Jayden knowing that my new offensive coordinator, I already know he kind of knows me also, the familiarity there?
Well, I think that's the most important thing that, you look at every year we get these quarterbacks coming in and people always want the next up-and-coming offensive coordinator, and that guy deals with 4 or 5 coordinators in 4 or 5 years. Well, this gives him a chance right now where you have a guy who's been in the building that's going to be there, who has a relationship with Jayden already. And I think those two guys together will come up with an offense. Listen, he's been in Ben Johnson's offense, all right? He's been in Cliff's offense. When you're going through this race and you want to be a coach, you take a little bit from everything to try to intertwine your game. And I think right now, he has probably the best of both worlds when it comes down to it.
And B, Mitch, we are still waiting to find out who our new defensive coordinator will be. We don't want to speculate too much, but when you look at characteristics that make a great defensive coordinator, what are some of those characteristics you want to see brought here to Washington?
Well, I think when you look at the football game that we just saw on Monday night, you saw how that defense was aggressive. They had people coming off the edge, and they had the ability to try to have the pass rush to where you can get pressure with 4 people. If you can get pressure in the NFL with 4 people, have that aggressive mindset, you give yourself a chance to succeed. Listen, when you got 7 guys dropping in coverage, and then you can affect the quarterback all day, you can move him off his mark, that's what you want. But I want to see someone who's aggressive. You know, as a former quarterback, not at the NFL level, but I knew when people heated me up, it made me speed up my process. And the more your process is sped up, the more you make mistakes.
B, Mitch, I can't imagine you made too many mistakes in your day. Being one of the greatest to ever do it. I know Fred wasn't making you make no mistakes out there. B, we appreciate you always, my game day brother. We appreciate you always, bro. We will see you out in Pittsburgh. We'll have the game day crew back together for the first round of the NFL draft. Appreciate my boy B, Mitch. And Fred, since we're talking defense, let's stay on it.
Let's do it.
Now, Fred, we still are searching for that defensive coordinator, which you know is a very, very important hire for our Commanders. And our crew is standing by to talk all things defense and some of the changes we want to see in 2026. It is time for Securing the W, presented by Hercules Fence. Security in every job. And since we're talking defense, I got to start with our resident defender, Fred Smoot. When we're looking for this defensive coordinator, what attributes are you looking? Oh man, you got the serious face on too. I love it, man. I take this very serious. Mr. Smoot, are you looking for in our new defensive coordinator?
I want a mad scientist. I want somebody that most people don't understand. I want somebody that's regiment. I want somebody that hold people accountable, and I want somebody with a vision. I'm tired of everybody trying to do the same thing. Everybody want to stop Pat Mahomes, so everybody go too high safety. No, I want you to be more like Minnesota. I just want you to be attacking. I want them to have an edge to them. If I could say anything, I want an educated guy with an edge to him.
Yeah, to me, I think I want a good communicator first and foremost, a guy that can teach. And again, that edge I think is also really important, specifically for defensive personnel, play callers. Yeah. You want that guy that's kind of like I was with Vic Fangio for a year in Chicago. Yeah. That guy, he'd walk by in the hallway and it felt like a cold breeze was coming. He was just a frosty son of a gun, right? Yeah. But what he can do is he can communicate ideas well. He's a great teacher. So I think that's gonna be my big point.
Yeah, I think that's key. I think what Fred said about a guy that's when he steps off the bus, his team, you can feel their presence. You know, when it comes to him, you know, having that edge. But I think, you know, more so than anything, I want a great leader of men. You know what I mean? I want a guy that can go in there and basically, you know, teach guys, develop guys, and let them know, you know, what's the job at hand. And I think the times I've been around those defenses, offensively, we didn't have to go out there and hustle and bustle that much. Went out there and scored our points and know our defense was going to go out there and bring the game home to us.
I mean, we have a leader like that with that edge that Fred's talking about, Logan. I think of a guy like Dan Quinn, who also is a leader with that edge, a defensive-minded guy. How important is that relationship between this new DC and Dan Quinn? Because as we know, DQ and Joe Witt, very, very close relationship, have a lot of years together.
Yeah, I think that's the million-dollar question, because again, this is new. This is kind of uncharted territory with regards to what Dan is looking for, right? So to me, I'd actually say it's not that important. In some ways, it's better that the guy be autonomous, have experience, can stand on his own, because again, with a young play caller on the offensive side, I think Dan needs to make sure that side of the football is developing. So I think you want someone you can trust to kind of relay your message, relay your ideas, that you don't have to oversee that detail.
You want somebody that's been there and done that. You want somebody that has a potion to what they like to do. You want somebody that has an identity. You want somebody when the name is said, I don't have to think twice. I know how Greg Williams' defense has. I don't have to think twice. I know how Dick LeBeau defenses are. I don't have to think twice because this guy comes with a built-in identity.
Yeah, Dan said it before. You know, that's one of the reasons why he didn't want to be the guy running the show. You know, I know he has a great defensive mind, but he's a head coach and he don't want all those responsibilities. So I think it'd be more so getting that guy that he know he can just say, man, go out there and do what you do. You know, I'll oversee things.
And Phil Attendant bring up an excellent point, because Dan Quinn did take over play calling responsibilities for our defense. How involved, Fred, do you see him remaining with this new defensive coordinator?
Well, it depends on the status of that new defensive coordinator. Yeah. If it's a guy with not a lot of pips on the wall, I think he'll be over there a lot. If it's a guy that he trusts, that can handle his own, I don't think he'll intrude on him. Of course, he always going to have input. He's going to have offensive input. He's going to have defensive input. But once you got a guy out there that you can trust and you don't have to second guess, that changes everything.
And fellas, let's keep it on defense because in the building, we have two of the best to ever do it at the linebacker position. They caught up on a very special episode of the Next Man Up podcast. Let's check it out.
To reach that number, and I started looking, I was like, man, that all the stuff that it requires, the hours upon hours, I say thousands upon hours that you put in the film study, into the preparation, off-season workouts, taking care of your body, eating right, all the discipline and sacrifice that it takes, the commitment to excellence, sustained success year after year after year. And I tried to articulate that to the fans who, like, yeah, y'all see this number, but the milestone that Bobby's achieved is more than that. What goes into all the things you have to do to be able to play the way you play?
Man, like you said, it's just film study, taking care of your body, the massages, the yoga, spending time with friends. There were so many different sacrifices that you didn't know why you were doing it. You just wanted to do it because you wanted to be great. And then when you do that, things like this happen.
You in the locker room after you got the game ball for the 2,000 tackles, you mentioned how the team has brought back the love of football. These group of guys has brought back your love of football to you. What was it about it that you kind of lost that love of the game and prior to coming to Washington?
I just think, I had I really thought I was going to be in Seattle my whole career.
Mm-hmm.
And, those last few years, I went to Seattle, then I went to LA, and then I went back to Seattle, and then I was going there. So it was just a lot of turnover, you know what I mean? And a lot of, not knowing what was next. And so this year was the first year that I was able to stay where I was at, and it felt right, and it felt good with the group that I was able to be a part of and help mentor and things of that nature. And so it was just fun.
Gets that full interview on the Commanders YouTube page or wherever you stream your podcast. Now it's time for our winning numbers, brought to you by the Maryland Lottery. Please play responsibly. And these winning numbers are for no other than the future Hall of Famer, veteran linebacker Bobby Wagner. Currently has 2,000 career tackles, joining Fletch and Ray Lewis as the only players to ever hit that mark. What a career for linebacker Bobby Wagner, and he's still getting busy. And speaking of legends, we have one on set who is looking forward to his alma mater making a championship push. Now, fellas, here is a look at the records that Santana Moss held when he left the University of Miami. He was the leader in all-purpose yards. Had over 4,400 of them things. Logan, receiving yards,
pretty good.
punt return yards, and career punch return for a touchdown with 6 of them things.
I wanted all that smoke. I wanted all that smoke when we was in school. Santana didn't tell y'all I came to Miami after the season was over, knocking on doors. What Santana Moss said?
You tell everybody this story.
What would you have done if he had answered?
He ain't want nothing.
Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go.
Hey, you want to go out? You want to hang out?
I got this club we can go to.
And the thing about it, everybody think these records are broken. Technically,
Yeah.
they are not.
That's
Because
crazy.
Santana played in the Big East,
Yeah.
not the ACC.
Yeah.
So those records in the Big East still stand to this day.
Yeah, and on the only record, since we're talking about me, I'm gonna pat myself
Go
a little
ahead,
bit.
brother.
I was the only guy to have offensive and special teams MVP in the same season in the Big East.
Talk that talk. We need to add that to the graph.
Go ahead.
You know what I mean?
But we ain't talking about talent. We talking about the you.
We talking about the U because you are right. They are in
Get ready.
the national championship. So, fellas, to end the show, we're going to keep it real simple.
Yeah.
We talking predictions for that game. Low. Starting with you, brother.
Man, I really want Miami to win, but Indiana, I think, is that squad right now. So I'm going to go Indiana, even though I am pulling for Miami.
Hey, I want you to do this. Hold that U up for me.
Okay, hold the U up.
And I'm going to put an eye in that thing. You, I'm telling you right now. Indiana, Cincinnati, I'm going with them.
So I'm gonna say.
Yeah, all
So I'm
right.
gonna say. Come on, man.
I'm going for the
Talking
U,
cheap,
2
baby.
against 2. We'll see who was right next week here on Command Center. I'm your host, Brian Cooper Jr. here with Santana Moss, Fred Smoot, and Logan Paulson. We'll catch y'all next week. We out.
The hate you give.
Hey, I'm so shocked you went IU. You talking all that
I want Miami to win.
He said he wanted to.
Command Center was filmed at Big Bear AI Command Center Studio. Big Bear AI offers mission-ready AI for a rapidly evolving world, proudly protecting the Washington Commanders and its fans.